Hello everyone. I am Dr. Shalini Gupta, presently working with Bhavan's Leelavati Munshi College of Education. Today I'm going to discuss curriculum adaptations from the paper Creating an Inclusive School. The code is BED 218 of semester 4. We'll be discussing this topic in the light of Unit 2. That means we will try to discuss the concept of curriculum adaptations. What are the characteristics of curriculum adaptations? What are the different forms of curriculum adaptations? The difference between these two forms and specific problems that the children face and how we can adapt the curriculum according to their learning needs. We will start with what is curriculum adaptations. Now, the first thing that we need to understand what is inclusive education and why inclusive education is required. So when we are talking about inclusive education, it means education of all the students where all students are equal participants in the learning process. So to make inclusive education possible and to accommodate students with different learning abilities, our education system, the whole structure, practices, teaching learning process, evaluation process needs to be flexible so that to accommodate these students and to cater to their learning needs. So we can say that curriculum adaptations are basically changes in the prescribed curriculum to ensure access of quality education for all the students. Here we are talking about all students and it's written in capital letters because we need to cater to all, not only the children with special needs. Now the characteristics of curriculum adaptations. Curriculum adaptations are ongoing and continuous process. This means that curriculum adaptations, whenever we are doing adaptations, it's not that at the start of the semester, we have done certain adaptations for a particular child in a course content, and then we are not going to review it. We are going to review it for every subject, for every topic, and after certain time. Like it should be a continuous process. It should not be an end at any point for any child. Changes are done either in content or in process of instruction or in evaluation and assessment procedures or in whole learning environment or in all the four areas. Now these adaptations are not intended to lower the standard, educational standard of the curriculum for a particular child. They are basically intended so that to meet the learning requirement of the children and make education, quality education accessible to each and every child who is enrolled in the classroom. Now let us discuss different forms of adaptations. If we see there are two forms of adaptation, one is accommodation, the other one is modification. Now when we consider accommodation as a form of adaptation, that means we are bringing changes in the content, delivery of instruction and assessment strategies and also the environment to ensure maximum participation of all students. Now, one thing which is very important in accommodation is that we are not altering the educational objectives for any child. Children with special needs will be expected to reach to the same educational objectives as rest of the students are. While in modifications, we do bring changes in the educational objective for a particular child depending upon the need of that child. That is a major difference between accommodation and modifications. Let us see a difference between accommodation and modifications. As you can see, in accommodations, we do not alter the educational objectives for the individual, while we do that according to the need of the child. If the child's need is to understand the concept, maybe emotion, then we are going to alter that For rest of the class, it could be different kinds of motion in that particular class. Now, changes are made in order to provide equal access and opportunity to learning in accommodation, while here our main emphasis is to provide meaningful learning experiences according to the needs of individual child. Assessment parameters are same in accommodations, while in assessment in modifications, we do change assessment parameters depending upon the educational objectives of the child. One more thing that has to be remembered, that modifications are the adaptations in which educational goals are individualized for the child according to their learning needs. One more thing that is important in modifications or accommodations, that we need to understand that modification should be the last resort and should be done only with the severe conditions which cannot be accommodated in the classrooms with doing accommodations or slight changes in the teaching learning process and the content area or teaching learning environment. Now, as we have already mentioned, that there are 4 areas of adaptations. The first one is content, the second is process, product, and environment. When we are talking about content and making changes in the content or adapting a content, we are talking here accommodations as adaptations. That means we are not changing the content. We are not changing the educational objectives for particular child, but we are changing our teaching strategies in that manner so that learning needs of each and every child is fulfilled. So content, making adaptations in content does not mean teaching content or teaching a different content, but teaching the same content in a different manner. Now, when we are talking about processes, it's a teaching learning processes. When there are certain children who are auditory learner, there are certain who are visual learner. So we need to use multisensory approach or different types of approaches so that we can reach to each and every child. In the product means assessments and evaluation. We should give freedom to the child to choose the way they want to express their learning. So there should be a varied kinds of assessment given, or maybe a choice to be given to the student to choose in which way a child can express. A child might be able to express his or her learning in the form of objective questions, or by drawing, or by painting, or by maybe dramatization. So we should give that kind of flexibility in assessment procedures. Next comes the environment. Now, environment consists of physical environment, emotional environment, social environment, and intellectual environment. So giving that flexibility or bringing changes in that environment is what we are talking about here in adaptations. Now, as this is a 4th semester paper, you must have gone to the schools and you must have seen a diversity in your classroom. You must have seen different children with different abilities, with different learning needs, with different learning styles. You might have children with visual impairment or hearing impairment or speech impaired in your classroom. You might have seen certain children with having some physical discomfort while sitting and standing and doing writing, or maybe standing, posture problems. So all these comes under physical impairment. Or there might be some children who are intellectually disabled. We can have children with specific learning disabilities, or we can have children with autism spectrum disorders in our classrooms. So let us discuss accommodations in the form of adaptations for each and every impairment. So if we have a child with visual impairment in our classroom, the first thing that we need to do is to train the child in Braille and providing assistive devices which can convert text into Braille and Braille into the text which is understandable by majority of people. We should try to use multisensory approach in our classroom. Especially more emphasis should be given on auditory instructions, verbal instructions. Anything which is visual should be described in words so that a child can comprehend it. We should try to use concrete materials, models, and direct sensory experience as far as possible. Whatever material or whatever teaching aids that we are taking, either it should be tactile or it should be embossed. Audiobooks, notes, audio recordings should be provided to the child for better comprehension. A lot of opportunities should be provided for group work and peer learning. Additional time and shorter assignments, if required, should be given. We should not try to shorten the assignments or give extra time if it is not required. Because in most of the cases, children with visual impairment do not have any intellectual problem. They can understand the concept. The only thing that is required is to presenting that content in the way they learn. Varied forms of assessments should be used, oral tests, debates, discussions, they should be a part of it. And the familiar and favorable organization of the classroom. That means sitting arrangement, where the tables are kept, where the chairs are kept. If there is any change in the classroom structure, it should be communicated to the child in advance. Because here, as a teacher, our aim is to deliver the content to make the learning possible in the child, but at the same time, we have to make that child independent. So each and every change that we make in the classroom in terms of its structure should be communicated. Now let us move on to curriculum adaptations for children with hearing impairment. Now, when we are talking about child with hearing impairment, they have good sense of vision. So everything that we did in the did for the children with visual impairment, we do the opposite. We represent each and everything in a visual form. That means the instructions, the information that we give should be in a visual form. Use of lots of gestures, sign language, lip reading, facial expressions, body language should be used so that the child can comprehend the learning and whatever information that is being provided. The language should be simple and short sentences should be used. The child should be seated in front of the teacher or to the speaker so that a child can lip read. Training in sign language is a must. We should try to eliminate any kind of background noise to avoid distraction. As far as possible, we should give transcript of each and every class and each and every presentation that is being done in the classroom. Use of multimedia for better understanding and various modes of assessment, which includes making a concept map, mind maps, drawings, flow chart, by which they can express their learning more clearly. Now, curriculum adaptation for child with speech and language impairment. Children with speech and language impairment has a problem in comprehending and speaking language. So our main emphasis should be in development of language skills while teaching a content. So when we are teaching a content, we use most the same strategies that we have used with children with hearing impairment. That means we are using multimedia, we are using visual representation of instruction and information. We are going to give them training in sign language using lots of gesture, facial expression, and body language. Avoiding distractions, use of assistive technology, which can change speech to text and text to speech especially, and varied forms of assessment. Apart from that, the most important thing that is required with a child with speech and language impairment is the use of language and understanding the structure of language. So what we need to do is to prompt and giving cues to the child when a child is trying to speak or comprehend a language. Especially when in terms of pronunciation, we should give them extra practice of pronunciation. when it's making a spelling, we should give them alternative spelling. Let them choose first and then use it. Rather than giving a correct spelling itself, we should try that the child should use as much as capability and ability the child has. Now let us move on to curriculum adaptations for child with physical impairment. A child with physical impairment means they might have some loss of bodily function like walking, speech, fine motor skill, hand movement, etc. Children having the same physical disability may have different abilities and may require different interventions. Students with physical impairment may require a number of adaptations in physical environment to enjoy the school activities which are going on in the school. The child should be seated in an area where he or she can move freely and easily. Furniture should be appropriate and comfortable for the child. Paper clips and thumb pins should be provided to hold book, paper in place. Large pen with firm grip should be provided if required. Handouts could be provided if needed. Group activities should be organized, giving the child responsibility according to the strength of the child. Peer support and cooperative learning should be encouraged. Assessment should be flexible and should be designed according to the strength of the child. Giving extra time for assignments if required. Use of computers and assistive devices should be encouraged whenever possible. Curriculum adaptation for child with cognitive impairment. The children with cognitive impairment needs adaptations in all the areas depending upon the severity of impairment. We should use multisensory approach covering all types of learning styles, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and tactile. Direct teaching strategy should be adopted. Content should be tiered for better understanding. Now, what is the tiered curriculum? For any content, there can be three components. A portion or a content which each and every child should and must know. There is some content which most of the children should know, and there is a content which every one or few children should know. It's not compulsory for every child to to understand 100 out of 100. So there are certain educational outcomes, there are certain learning outcomes given by NCERT for all classes, for all topics. So we should refer to those learning outcomes and design a tiered curriculum according to it. With the children with cognitive impairment, we should start with the content which every child must know for that level, and then moving upwards once the child gets a mastery of level 1. For children with cognitive impairment, we should first try to teach the content from simple to complex. Opportunities should be provided to use assisted devices. Peer support and cooperation is must and should be encouraged. Children should be provided with alternative modes to express themselves during teaching learning process and also during evaluation. Lot of activities, involvement in activities and learning by doing should be incorporated in the classes for children with cognitive impairment. Now let us discuss the curricular adaptations for children with specific learning disabilities. As we all know that learning disability is a disability that affects a person's ability to process information. It is not intellectual disability. In most of the cases, children with learning disabilities possess an average IQ or above average IQ. There are various types of learning disabilities like dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, and dyspraxia. We are going to discuss some common adaptations for them. We should use multi-sensory teaching and emphasize conceptual learning rather than rote memorization of facts. Breaking concepts into smaller sub-concepts for better understanding. Shorter and frequent assignments with interval for physical activities is required. Providing frequent feedback is very important for reinforcing these children to learn. Sharing work contract, the child should know what is expected out of him in specific time. A lot of time should be given for drill and practice that is required, and peer support and cooperative learning is must. There could be some children in our classroom which suffer from autism spectrum disorder. So autism spectrum disorder is a condition related to brain development that impacts how a person perceives and socializes with others, causing problems in social interaction and communications. The disorder also includes limited and repetitive pattern of behavior. It has wide range of symptoms and severity. These children benefit from the small group instructions. Instruction should be given in intervals with break for sensory stimulus, which is must for children, and physical activity. Clear beginning and end of the activities should be given in advance. They need to be given social norms and rules through stories. Rules for work and play should be stated clearly with visual representations. While teaching, their interests should be taken into account with their needs and strengths. Physical as well as mental clutter in the form of materials on the table or instruction or content should be avoided. As far as possible, teaching of a content should be sequential. Activities and contents, whatever we are doing, all kinds of activities, all kinds of instructions should be sequentially given and should be presented in the form of visuals. And schedules should be followed as much as possible. Any change in the physical environment or schedule of a classroom should be communicated to these children in advance. Now, you must have seen that when we were discussing curricular adaptations for different children with different needs, we could feel that these strategies are good for each and every child in our classroom. As it is rightly said, inclusive practices are the best practices for teaching all children. Thank you. For further understanding, you can go through these references. Thank you and have a nice day.